Jodi Arias. Obsession, lies, and murder, full story of America's most twisted crime of passion. Before we dive in, kindly hit the subscribe button and let us know where you are watching from in the comment. It began like any great love story. Boy meets girl. They lock eyes across a crowded room. She smiles. He smiles back. But beneath that smile, a storm was already brewing. It was September 2006 when Travis Alexander first met Jodi Arias. They met at a conference in Las Vegas. Both were young, ambitious, and craving connection. Travis was a rising motivational speaker and a devoted Mormon. Jodi was beautiful, charismatic, and looking for a new path in life. He noticed her before she noticed him. He liked what he saw. By the end of the night, they were inseparable. To everyone watching, they looked perfect together. But something felt off. Travis had a glow about him. Confidence. A light. Jodi had secrets. They started dating almost instantly. Jodi converted to Mormonism just months after they met. She said it was for faith. Travis believed her. But to friends, it felt forced. Too fast. Too intense. Travis was conflicted. He liked her passion, her energy, but he also felt smothered. There were late-night calls, dozens of texts. If he didn't answer, she'd drive hours just to find him. He broke up with her multiple times, but Jodi didn't let go. She moved from California to Arizona, just minutes from his home, uninvited. She told people it was fate. He told friends it was terrifying. His friends warned him, "She's not stable. She's obsessed." But Travis, always the optimist, tried to see the good. He kept her close, too close, and that would become the biggest mistake of his life. Because Jodi wasn't in love. She was addicted to control, addicted to him. Every time he pulled away, she pulled harder. And Travis, caught in the web, didn't see the trap closing. This wasn't love. It was possession. And soon, it would turn deadly. They weren't officially dating, not anymore. But they still slept together, still went on trips, still argued, fought, cried. Jodi documented everything. She took photos, saved voicemails, logged emails. It was like she was building a case, a story, one where she could decide the ending. By 2008, Travis had begun to move on. He started dating someone new, a kind woman from his church. Jodi didn't take it well. She pretended to be happy for him. But friends saw the rage behind her eyes. She hacked into his Facebook, read his messages, slashed his tires, showed up uninvited. Once she even crawled through his doggy door. Travis was scared, but he didn't call the police. He didn't want to ruin her life. He still felt sorry for her. Maybe, deep down, he still cared. But she was unraveling. And on June 4th, 2008, the unraveling became complete. That morning, Jodi left California. She claimed she was going to Utah, but she took a detour, a long, bloody detour, to Mesa, Arizona, to Travis. She arrived at his house in the afternoon. He let her in. There are no witnesses, no cameras, only the aftermath. But what we know is this: Travis was brutally murdered, shot in the head, stabbed 27 times, his throat slashed from ear to ear. The scene was horrific. Blood soaked the bathroom floor. A camera was found in the washing machine. Inside, photos of Travis, alive. Then, photos of him bleeding, collapsing. Then, darkness. Someone had tried to destroy the evidence. But the camera survived. And it told the story Jodi tried to bury. She left Arizona and continued to Utah like nothing happened. She even met up with a new guy, flirted, laughed, played innocent. But when police found the photos, they came for her. Jodi denied everything. "I wasn't there. I didn't do it." Then, "Okay, I was there, but it was self-defense." The lies unraveled, just like she did. And what followed would become one of the most infamous trials in American history. Mesa, Arizona, June 9th, 2008. It was a quiet Monday. Too quiet. Travis Alexander hadn't shown up for a scheduled conference call. He hadn't responded to texts or emails all weekend. And now his friends were worried. Very worried. His roommates hadn't seen him either, but they assumed he was just out of town. Maybe on a trip. That wasn't unusual. What was unusual? The smell. The hallway reeked. A foul, pungent odor drifted from behind the locked master bedroom door. Travis's friends had come to check on him. They knocked. No answer. They called out his name. Still nothing. One roommate found a key. They opened the door. And what they found inside would haunt them forever. Blood. Everywhere. Pools of it stained the carpet. Splattered across the walls. The mirror. The sink. It looked like something out of a horror film. Travis was in the shower. Curled over. Head down. Lifeless. He had been there for days. His body was bloated. Discolored. Decomposing. His throat was slit from ear to ear. There were multiple stab wounds. His hands showed signs of struggle. And a bullet wound was visible above his right eyebrow. This was no accident. This was rage. The friends called 911. The operator listened in stunned silence. The crime scene was secured. Detectives arrived. Cameras rolled. Evidence was logged. And in the midst of the blood and horror, a single piece of plastic caught a detective's eye. A digital camera. Wet. Nearly destroyed. Someone had tried to erase it, but it still worked. Detectives recovered the memory card. They sent it to the lab. What came back would break the case wide open. The photos told a story. Travis naked, posing in the shower. Alive. Happy, maybe. Until the final photos. Photos of Travis bleeding. Photos of him collapsing. The timestamp was clear. June 4th, 2008. Just days earlier. The last photo? An image of what appeared to be Jodi Arias. A blurry reflection. But it was her. Investigators were sure. And so was Travis's family. They had suspected her from the beginning. The way she clung to him. The way she showed up uninvited. The way she couldn't let go. Police brought Jodi in. She was calm. Too calm. She wore makeup. Smiled. Flirted. They asked her where she was on June 4th. She said she was in California. Visiting friends. They showed her the photos. She paused. Then smiled again. That can't be me. But it was. Then came the inconsistencies. Her story changed. First, she wasn't there. Then she was. Then it was self-defense. He attacked me. He was abusive. I had no choice. But nothing matched the evidence. The sheer brutality. The overkill. Stabbing. Shooting. Slashing. It didn't scream self-defense. It screamed rage. Possession. Revenge. The autopsy confirmed what detectives feared. Travis had been stabbed 27 times. The knife wounds covered his back, chest, and head. The shot to the head came last. But what chilled the medical examiner the most? Travis was alive during most of it. He fought. He bled. He crawled. Trying to escape. The hallway floor told the story in red. And the slashed throat? A final blow. One meant to silence forever. This wasn't just a killing. It was an execution. Investigators traced Jodi's path. They found receipts. Gas cans. Rope. Bleach. They found a rental car. Its floor mats missing. Seats stained. Her phone records were odd. She turned it off for 12 hours during her trip. Right during the window of Travis's murder. She bought a burner phone days later. She dyed her hair. She deleted voicemails. The cover-up had begun before the crime even ended. And yet, she left the camera. She couldn't delete everything. The digital trail was too deep. Too damning. Jodi Arias was arrested on July 15, 2008. She was charged with first-degree murder. Her trial? It would become a media circus. For more chilling true crime stories, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. The trial was set. Jodi Arias, charged with first-degree murder. The courtroom? Maricopa County Superior Court. The date? January 2, 2013. 5 years after Travis Alexander's brutal death. 5 long years of media silence, police files, and evidence mounting. But now the world was watching. And Jodi She loved the spotlight. From the first moment she entered the courtroom, all eyes were on her. Her demeanor, poised, calm, carefully dressed, hair straightened, makeup done. Not a killer, not to look at. She looked like a teacher, a secretary, a woman you'd pass on the street. But the jury would soon learn, appearances lie, because underneath the soft voice and the gentle smile was a storm of deceit. And now that storm was on trial. The prosecution opened with a blow. Juan Martinez, sharp, relentless, and laser-focused. He painted Jodi as a calculating, obsessed ex-girlfriend, one who couldn't take rejection. He showed the photos, Travis alive, Travis dying. He detailed the 27 stab wounds, the slit throat, the bullet to the head, and then the timeline, the road trip, the receipts, the phone logs, everything lined up. It was premeditated. This was no heat of the moment. It was planned, cold, and brutal. But the defense? They told another story. Led by Kirk Nurmi, Jodi's team presented her as a victim, not a murderer. They painted Travis as abusive, controlling, sexually aggressive. They introduced steamy text messages, intimate recordings, journals, photos, all showing a complicated relationship. Jodi said Travis used her, that he wanted her as a secret lover, not a public partner, that he humiliated her, threatened her, and that June 4th, 2008 was the day she snapped. In self-defense, the court gasped. Self-defense? Against a naked man in the shower? Then came the moment no one expected. Jodi took the stand, not for an hour, not for a day, but for 18 days. 18 days of testimony. She cried. She whispered. She described their sex life in graphic detail. She accused Travis of calling her names, of manipulating her, of secretly desiring young boys. Gasps echoed in the courtroom. But the prosecution was ready. Juan Martinez attacked every lie, every contradiction, every hole in her timeline. He was relentless, and Jodi began to crack. The jury watched, listened, took notes, but the world watched too. The trial was streamed live. Millions tuned in every day. Twitter exploded. True crime forums ignited. TV anchors debated. Everyone had an opinion. Was she a victim or a master manipulator? One clip went viral. A reporter asked Jodi, "Do you think anyone will believe you?" She smiled. "No jury will convict me," she said, "because I'm innocent." She was wrong. In May 2013, the verdict came. Guilty. First-degree murder. The courtroom erupted. Travis's family cried, hugged, justice. Finally. But the trial wasn't over. Now came the penalty phase. Would Jodi get life in prison or the death penalty? The jury deliberated, but they were deadlocked. A mistrial. A second jury was called in 2015. They too couldn't agree. In the end, Jodi Arias was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. No cameras were allowed at her final sentencing. But the world had seen enough. Even behind bars, Jodi remained in the spotlight. She gave interviews, sold drawings, filed appeals. She claimed the media twisted her story, that she was misunderstood. She said, "I wouldn't hurt Travis, but the evidence, the blood, the camera, they said otherwise." The trial of Jodi Arias wasn't just about a murder. It was about obsession, control, manipulation, the masks people wear, the danger of ignoring red flags, and how love, twisted the wrong way, can lead to something far darker. The public couldn't look away, and neither could the jury, because Jodi didn't just kill a man. She tried to rewrite the truth. But in the end, the truth won, and that was only the beginning of her life behind bars. Jodi Arias began her life sentence at the Arizona State Prison Complex in Perryville. No cameras, no courtroom, just bars, steel, routine. But even behind those concrete walls, her story wasn't over. Not for her, and not for the public. Because somehow, Jodi Arias still found a way to stay in the headlines. First, she kept quiet. She adjusted to prison life quickly. Too quickly, she made friends. She became an artist, sketching portraits, selling them online through third parties. Each signed Jodi. People bought them. Some were true crime fans. Some were just obsessed. Some believed she was innocent. The attention didn't stop. It grew. She became a celebrity in prison. Guards noticed how prisoners would flock around her. New inmates whispered her name like she was a legend, and she played the part. From her prison cell, Jodi gave interviews. She wrote letters. She sent messages out to the world, to media outlets, to supporters, to former lovers. Even behind bars, she flirted, controlled, manipulated. She claimed she was framed, that the jury was biased, that Juan Martinez, the prosecutor, was abusive. She filed multiple appeals. All were denied, but it wasn't about winning. It was about staying relevant. Inside the prison, she joined classes, took up yoga. She mentored younger inmates, counseled them even. To some, she acted like a model prisoner, but others saw through it. They called her a chameleon. One guard said, "She changes who she is depending on who's watching. One moment, soft-spoken and sweet. The next, cold and calculated. The same mask she wore in court, still intact." Outside, Travis's family tried to move on, but the pain never left. His siblings often spoke out, about justice, about grief, about the media circus. They created foundations, held memorials, shared his story, because they didn't want the world to remember him as a victim. He was more than that: a brother, a son, a friend, a man with dreams, faith, and a future, until Jodi took it all away. In 2017, headlines erupted again. Jodi filed another appeal. She claimed misconduct, that the media coverage was unfair, that the jury was swayed. The appeal failed, but the headlines kept her name alive. She seemed to thrive on it. Attention was her currency, even in isolation. She wrote in one prison diary, "I still feel watched, and I like it. Chilling." She spoke of art, redemption. She talked about finding peace. But she never said sorry, never apologized to Travis's family, never admitted what she did, only framed it, twisted it, repackaged it, as if it were someone else's story. But the photos didn't lie. The crime scene didn't lie. The blood didn't lie. Jodi did. By 2020, the world had changed, but her cell hadn't. Same four walls, same steel bars, same masks, still drawing, still planning, still dreaming of a story where she was the hero. The media, though, was less forgiving. True crime documentaries flooded platforms. Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, all picked up the case, all told the story. But most got one thing right. Jodi Arias didn't just kill a man. She killed a future. She destroyed a family. She manipulated an entire nation. And yet still, from behind bars, she held influence. Why? Because people are drawn to darkness, to beauty mixed with danger, to stories that blur the lines between love and madness. To this day, fans write to her. Some propose marriage. Some beg for her version of the truth. And she gives it to them, in pieces, crafted carefully. Because Jodi always understood one thing: if you control the story, you control the audience. But the truth? It's buried in the evidence, in the blood trails, in the photos that survived the wash, in the voicemail she left Travis hours before killing him, in the tears his family still sheds. That truth doesn't change, and no amount of art, charm, or manipulation can erase it. Jodi Arias may be locked away, but her obsession still lives. In every letter, every sketch, every headline. She couldn't escape the cage, so she built a stage inside it. And the show still plays, even when the curtain should have closed. Years have passed since Jodi Arias was convicted, but her name still lingers, in headlines, in documentaries, in podcasts, in every corner of true crime fascination. Her story isn't just a tale of murder. It's a symbol of obsession, a case study in manipulation, and a mirror to our darkest curiosities. Jodi didn't fade into the background. Even locked away, her story evolved. And so did the public's obsession. TV specials reignited the case. Streaming platforms reintroduced it to new generations. YouTubers analyzed her every move. Body language experts broke down her testimony. Psychologists debated her mental state. Some said borderline personality disorder. Others said narcissistic. A few called her a sociopath. The truth? She was all of those things, and none. Because Jodi wasn't just a diagnosis. She was a phenomenon. The trial changed the media landscape. It blurred the lines between justice and entertainment, between reality and ratings. Court TV ratings soared. Live streams of the trial drew millions. It was the O.J. Simpson trial of a new era. But this time, social media was watching and judging. Memes were made. Fan pages emerged. Some people rooted for her. Others rooted against. But everyone watched. Everyone chose a side. This wasn't just about what Jodi did. It was about what we let it become. A spectacle. A circus. A dark drama where the killer became the star. And Travis? He was often a footnote. Lost in the glare of the woman who ended his life. That's the tragedy. And that's the warning. True crime exploded in popularity. Podcasts like Serial and My Favorite Murder followed. Netflix released Making a Murderer, and people couldn't get enough. But with that rise came a moral question. When does storytelling become exploitation? When do we cross the line? For many, the Jodi Arias case was that line. She became a product, a face, a case to study. But for Travis's family, it was real. Every headline reopened the wound. Every comment about her beauty, another knife. Every documentary, a reminder of what they lost. Not a character, not a story, a brother, gone. And yet, the fascination continues. Why? Because Jodi represents something primal. The fear that love can turn deadly, that beauty can mask evil, that control can hide behind a smile. She is the embodiment of a nightmare dressed in silk. And people are drawn to nightmares, to try to understand them, or simply to feel something dark without risk. The legacy of the case is complex. On one hand, it raised awareness about domestic violence, about emotional manipulation, about red flags ignored. On the other, it glamorized a killer, put a spotlight on the wrong person, and fed a cycle of obsession. Jodi wanted attention, and the world gave it to her, over and over again. Today, Travis's legacy lives on, through foundations, through his writings, through his family's relentless advocacy. They remind the world that he was more than a victim. He was a voice, a believer, a dreamer, and that matters more than the crime. Jodi Arias remains in prison. Her appeals have failed. Her art sales have slowed. Her interviews have dried up. But her name still lingers, because we let it, because the darkness fascinates us, and because true crime, for better or worse, is part of our culture now. But maybe that fascination has a purpose: to warn, to educate, to prevent, to remember, because if we only watch to be entertained, we forget the human cost. We forget Travis. We forget the life lost in the glare of the spotlight. So as the cameras fade, as the headlines slow, let this story be more than just another episode. Let it be a lesson that not all love is safe, that not all beauty is good, and that behind some smiles lies something far more dangerous. For more chilling true crime stories, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.